Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Jayapataka Gadadhara Srivasadi
The following is a class given by His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Mahārāj on September 19th, 1979 in Los Angeles, California. The class begins with a reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 9, Text 6.
Translation by His Divine Grace, Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Dhruva Mahārāj said, "My dear Lord, you are all powerful. After entering within me, you have enlivened all my sleeping senses, my hands, legs, ears, touch sensation, life force, and especially my power of speech. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto you." Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Dhruva Mahārāj could understand very easily the difference between his condition before and after attaining spiritual realization, and seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face. He could understand that his life force and activities had been sleeping. Unless one comes to the spiritual platform, his bodily limbs, mind, and other facilities within the body are understood to be sleeping. Unless one is spiritually situated, all his activities are taken as a dead man's activities or ghostly activities. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakura has composed a song in which he addresses himself. Quote, "O living entity, get up! How long shall you sleep on that lap of Maya? Now you have the opportunity of possessing a human form, of body. Now you try to get up and realize yourself." Unquote. The Vedas also declare, quote, "Get up! Get up! You have the opportunity, the boon of a human form of life. Now realize yourself." Unquote. These are the Vedic injunctions. Dhruva Mahārāja actually experienced that upon enlightenment of his senses on the spiritual platform, he could understand the essence of Vedic instruction, that the Supreme Godhead is the Supreme Person. He is not impersonal. Dhruva Mahārāja could immediately understand this fact. He was aware that for a very long time he was practically sleeping, and he felt the impetus to glorify the Lord according to the Vedic conclusion. A mundane person cannot offer any prayer or glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead because he has no realization of the Vedic conclusion. When Dhruva Mahārāj therefore found this difference within himself, he could immediately understand that it was because of the causeless mercy of the Lord. He offered obeisances to the Lord with great respect and reverence, and completely understanding that the Lord's favor was upon him. This spiritual enlivenment of Dhruva Mahārāj's senses and mind was due to the action of the internal potency of the Lord. In this verse, therefore, the word swa, damna, means, quote, by spiritual energy, unquote. Spiritual enlightenment is possible by the mercy of the spiritual energy of the Lord. Chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra is first addressed to the spiritual energy of the Lord. Hare, the spiritual energy, acts when a living entity fully surrenders and accepts his position as an eternal servitor. When a person places himself at the disposal or order of the Supreme Lord, that is called Sevona Mukha. At that time, the spiritual energy gradually reveals the Lord to him. Without revelation by the spiritual energy, one is unable to offer prayers glorifying the Lord. Any amount of philosophical speculation or poetic expression by mundane persons is still considered to be the action and reaction of the material energy. When one is actually enlivened by the spiritual energy, all his senses become purified and he engages only in the service of the Lord. At that time his hands, legs, ears, tongue, mind, genitals, everything engage in the service of the Lord. Such an enlightened devotee no longer has any material activities, nor has he any interest in being materially engaged. This process of purifying the senses and engaging them in the service of the Lord is known as bhakti, or devotional service. In the beginning, the senses are engaged by the direction of the spiritual master and shastra. After realization, when the same senses are purified, the engagement continues. The difference is that in the beginning the senses are engaged in a mechanical way, but after realization they are engaged in spiritual understanding. Thus end the purport by His Divine Grace, Sri Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Verse 6, Chapter 9, Canto 4 of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Actually, when I read here about the empowerment of Dhruva Mahārāj, I'm reminded of a great devotee in our midst. Dhruva Mahārāj was empowered by Krishna, and his intelligence, his ability became fully manifest. Without being empowered by the Lord, nobody can preach Krishna consciousness, no one can become spiritually enlivened. Kalikale dharma nama sankirtana, Krishna kripa bina nahi tar pravartana. In this Kali Yuga, the only religion, the only path for spiritual life is Nama Sankirtan, Krishna Sankirtan, glorifying the holy name and fame of Sri Krishna. And unless someone gets the mercy of Krishna, he is not empowered to preach, to expand that Sankirtan movement. I was remembering how Srila Prabhupada, in his last few days and months, one day called us, and he was telling us how we had to prepare for carrying out the work which he had begun. He said, only half my work is finished. Other half is remaining, you must all finish. He said, you are actually all simple. You are all simple, innocent devotees, so you should combinedly work together to spread this Krishna conscious movement. He said, amongst you, only one person has got a little intelligence. That is Rameswar Swami. So, Srila Prabhupada was very much affectionate with His Divine Grace Srila Rameswar Swami, and for his having intelligence to use and using it to spread the Sankirtan movement. So reading here about Dhruva Mahārāj, I was reminded of my worshipable God brother, Srila Swami, who is always using his intelligence to glorify the Lord according to time and place. Actually, here we see the word Swadhamna, his internal potency of the Lord. Actually, the Lord's internal potency manifests herself in so many different ways. And this potency of the Lord is divinely connected by the Lord, to the Lord, and everyone who is a pure devotee is under the shelter of this divine energy. Actually, if anybody wants to see Krishna, one first has to get the mercy of the energy of the Lord in the form of the mercy of spiritual master, or by Krishna's associates, of course, of which the spiritual master is one. Other associates, after the spiritual master gives mercy, may also come. Prabhupada said that before you can see Jagannath, first you will see Subhadra. Subhadra being the energy of the Lord, she is all compassionate. Then after Subhadra, then come Balaram. Then finally you will see Jagannath. The Lord's mercy is very compassionate. Before Dhruva Mahārāj could see Narayan, first he saw Narada Muni. And by his mercy, he ultimately saw Narayana. By Narayan's mercy, he was empowered to glorify Narayan. Glorifying Narayan is not a material capacity. It is not possible for any material person to glorify the Lord perfectly. This is only possible by the mercy of Narayan, by the mercy of Krishna and his pure devotees. So, one thing is, as we see how the Dhamma means spiritual energy, the Dham is also spiritual, is the spiritual potency. I'm reminded how nicely Srila Prabhupada described that if you want to know Krishna, if you want to love Krishna, then you must know and love those whom Krishna loves. Otherwise it's not possible. My dear Lord Krishna, I love you, but if you would just get rid of those cows so I could have you on Fifth Avenue. You see, these are all concoctions. If you want Krishna, then you have to also have his cows and his cowherd boys and his cowherd girls and his mother and his father and his uncles and his aunties and his grandmother, Purnamasi, everyone. The Krishna is a person, so he has likes and he has dislikes. He doesn't like anyone to suffer. He doesn't like his devotee, especially to be put in difficulty. This is his dislike. He doesn't like that. Therefore, he has come down to give his mercy to his devotees who are feeling separation of his lotus feet. Therefore, he mitigates the anxiety of the pious people, the devotees, by arranging to have the demonic influence diminished. The Lord has likes. He likes his particular dress. He likes his flute. He loves his flute, which is non-different. All these things in the absolute world are non-different. But some things take the position of paraphernalia, of associates, of eternal servitors, his holy name, his holy form. And he also has a place which he likes. He likes a particular place. I have not understood that yet. Although everyone likes to say that Jayapataka Swami has been living in the holy Dham, that is by body alone. The glories of the holy Dham are not something that simply by living there even one can understand very easily. It can only be understood what is the glories of the holy name, fame, Dham, Leela, Roop of the Lord only by a very special mercy of Krishna and his pure devotees. How the Lord has a deep love for a particular place, and how that place is not part of the material world but is expanded by his internal potency. It's a very difficult matter to understand. That actually wherever the devotee goes, he recreates that place. The Dham is not limited. Although it is situated, fixed up in one particular place in the world, at the same time it's all pervasive. Just like Krishna. Because wherever Krishna is, there's his Dham. There's his name, there's his form, there's his pastimes, there's his devotees. So when one brings Krishna in his heart, there also comes the holy place. When one brings Krishna in his home, there also the Dham is manifesting. As much as one has his devotion, so much will Krishna and his holy paraphernalia, Roop, Nam, Dham, manifest. So everything has a transcendental relationship. Prabhupada said, ISKCON is my body. I am a devotee of Srila Prabhupada, but I don't like ISKCON. How can that be? Is it possible? I love you, Srila Rameswar Swami, but I don't like your body. How is it possible? I like his transcendental, beautiful form, his sweet lotus words, everything about him if I like him. His associates, everything. Krishna, I like you, but I don't like your body. In the spiritual world, there's no difference. Of course, this material body is different from the spiritual body, but a pure devotee's body becomes spiritually enlivened. It becomes holy. Because it's fully dedicated to Krishna. Even if one says, oh, that's a material body. No, it may be material to your eyes, but because it's fully engaged in Krishna's service, it has also become sanctified. But especially when Prabhupada said that my body is ISKCON. How can we see ISKCON as separate? Krishna, I love you, but I don't like your body. Is it possible? Is there a difference in Prabhupada from Krishna's body? Is there a difference in Prabhupada and his body? When he says that ISKCON is my body, he means that if you love me, then you love this association of devotees joined together to cooperate for the purpose of preaching the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I remember one devotee said, Srila Prabhupada, is it true that only the devotees who are doing Sankirtan are the pure devotees of Krishna? And Prabhupada, who is not doing Sankirtan? This whole movement is based on Sankirtan. Who is not doing Sankirtan? Everyone is combining together to cooperate with the one single purpose of spreading Sankirtan. If one person doesn't cook the prasadam, how the devotees will eat to go out and distribute? If one person, every person is combined together. One person may be taking greater risk than another. Whoever puts himself out the most in his devotional service, taking shelter of Guru and Krishna, he gets the best. He can get more mercy. But who isn't doing Sankirtan in this movement? Who is fully surrendered? The whole movement is based upon spreading. And everyone should have that preaching mood. How can I cooperate with the desire of Srila Prabhupada to work as a gear, as a nut, as a bolt, as a wheel in the huge machinery of ISKCON for the purpose of preaching this Sankirtan movement? The whole machine is going to that destination only, to spread Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's message everywhere. Dhruva Mahārāj, he's glorifying the Lord, that by your mercy my senses have become enlivened. I was asleep. Isn't that our position? Before we get the mercy of Guru, we are simply dead men, walking corpses. By his mercy we become awakened. By his mercy we have eyes to see who we are, what is our purpose, where are we headed, who is Krishna, what is our relationship, how do we act in that relationship, what is the supreme perfection. Srila Prabhupada presented Krishna consciousness in a unique, dynamic way, while maintaining the very strict essence of Rupa Goswami's following of the principles of rules and regulations or sadhana bhakti. He intertwined within that an all-pervasive facility for manifesting raganuga bhakti, or spontaneous devotional service. It's very rare. In India is immediately the tendency to become a Kanistha Adhikari. Immediately. I am Hindu, I am this, I am that. To simply ring the bell at the arti time, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, and then go back after arti, sit down, wait for the rice. So eating a lot of rice, to take a little rest. In other words, to be able to lift up the bell at the next arti. Very heavy, about 2 kilos. 5-pound bells. Prabhupada admitted to us that at one point Srila Bhakti Siddhanta said that if I just had one Madhyam Adhikari disciple, one, never mind Uttam Adhikari, never mind first class, if I had one second class devotee, I would say my whole movement is a success. One second-class devotee. A third-class devotee simply sees the external form. Simply sees the external form. If someone bows down, oh, he's surrendered to Krishna. If he goes to a temple, he's surrendered. So then, there's more than that. But then, the Sahajiyas, they take it a step further. They say, oh, we are fully second plus devotees. We understand that simply bowing down, going to the temple is not pure devotion. There's more to it. So therefore, we don't go to the temple in devotion to show we're beyond that. We don't need that. And then they go over the deep edge. Prabhupada said that spiritual life is sharp like a razor. What does that mean? That if one follows the straight path of Krishna consciousness given by Prabhupada, which is completely in line with Rupa Goswami, he goes down the straight path. If one goes a little bit to the right, he falls off in the pit of Mayavad. I am God. I am same as Guru. I am same as Krishna. All is one. And if he goes a little bit the other way, to the left side, then he becomes a Sahajiya. I am already eternal associate of Krishna. I am already a pure devotee. I don't need all these rules and regulations. I can act any way I like. I'm surrendered to Krishna in my heart and mind. But Rupa Goswami had, what he has said perfectly, Prabhupada has given us the practical application, which so many so-called followers of Rupa Goswami have obviously failed to pick up. While following basic sadhana, chanting, rounds, attending temple programs, to be always fixed in enthusiastic devotional service under the order of the spiritual master, and to develop one's spontaneous enthusiasm through that devotional service. The more purified one's senses become, the more perfect becomes his service. The more purified one's senses become, the more clearly he can see what is his duty to the spiritual master and Krishna. And even if one is an awakened soul, he will try to give a good example. Because the Kanistadikari, the unadvanced devotees, will not understand his advancement. But the pure devotee sometimes is just too much absorbed in his mood of trying to satisfy his order of the spiritual master, which is a much higher principle. I was Srila Prabhupada went to visit one wealthy man in Calcutta, and he went to his house, and when he went there, the man sent out, he said, well, Srila Prabhupada is here, he'd like to see you. This many, many years ago, sent in a message. The man sent out his message that, well, I'm doing puja, please come back after an hour or something. Prabhupada says, he does not know how to satisfy. What is the position of a devotee? Simply Kanistadikari. He's doing his puja, and Krishna has sent his devotee to greet a devotee is a much higher principle. Than worshipping the deity in a mechanical way. There's so many instances in Chaitanya Leela. Sarvabhuma Bhattacharya left what he was doing, immediately came to greet the devotee. By pleasing the Lord's devotee, Krishna immediately becomes pleased. More so than worshipping Krishna directly for a limited time. Srila Prabhupada personally, he didn't like the Samadhi Mandir of Bhakti Siddhanta because he felt that they made the Murti of Bhakti Siddhanta to look like, I forget who he said, either it was Rupanuga or Bhavananda, I forget. But he said it didn't remind him of Bhakti Siddhanta. And when he went there, they put him through so many different kinds of inconvenient situations. So when he would go by, he would pay his dandavat like this with his hand. And he would go by. So one day it came through the grapevine that one of his godbrothers was criticizing that why Bhaktivedanta Swami does not come and bow down before the Samadhi Mandir of Bhakti Siddhanta, before his Guru's Mandir. This is a defect. They're criticizing. And I happened to be present in his room when he heard that. And he started to become so affected that they just don't understand. They don't understand. They think that Bhakti Siddhanta is stuck there in the ground. They don't realize he's sitting by my side at every moment, guiding me, helping me. The Kanistha Adhikari, he thinks that only one is worshipping his spiritual master when he is ringing the bell at his arti. They can't see that by carrying out his order, a pure disciple is intimately connected with his spiritual master more than at any other time. And that connection is so strong and sweet that he may even override some ritual, absorbed in that mood of satisfying his innermost desire. What will carry out and satisfy his intention? That is a higher principle. But blinded by envy, blinded by ignorance, blinded by material contamination, blinded by imperfect vision, one can see a defect in someone where there is no defect. Just like, who was it? Ramananda Puri? What's that? Paramananda? No, that Ramchandra? Huh? Ramachandra Puri, who saw he would come and he would feed devotees, big prasad. I'm full. No, I must take more. Pile on their plate. Then when they would finally he would force so hard that they're all right. All I had enough, just for you, I'll take a little more. Oh, you overate, you slob, you non-Vaishnav, you rascal. You've overeaten. You are not a true bhakta. So I was just taking because you were insisting. I had enough. This is a Ramchandra Puri. Mood. You set someone else up and then cut off his head. So, there's really no positive instruction. One thing, why are these leelas put in Chaitanya Charitamrita? What is the benefit? Benefit obviously is because there are going to be instances when fallen souls are going to, like us, are going to have different idiosyncrasies to act like that. Therefore, to give us instruction how foolish it is, Krishna Jas Kaviraj has included for our instruction, lest we become a Ramchandra Kaviraj, a Ramchandra Puri, who goes in Lord Chaitanya's room and sees a few ants on the floor. Oh, you are eating so many sweets, the ants are coming, you are not a real sannyasi. He's criticizing Krishna himself. How puffed up. So then, forced by the opinion, the devotee is so humble. Lord Chaitanya was taking the mood of a devotee, so humble, all right, I will no longer eat. He reduced his diet to just one token. Devotee is so soft-hearted that if somebody criticizes on a which even though it's a materialistic platform, even though it is not a perfect platform, he is so humble, all right, whatever you like, I will stop eating. But actually, where there's no fault, someone will find a fault. Simply due to not a deep anubhav or understanding, realization of what is the inner intention of the Guru of Krishna. What does it take to instill faith in fallen souls in this Kali Yuga? How is it possible to inject in their dead, stone-like hearts the sweet nectar of Krishna consciousness, which is Lord Chaitanya's supermost desire? We pray every day, Sri Chaitanya Manobhistang Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadhati Svapadantikam. O Srila Rupa Goswami, I follow and beg to take shelter of your divine lotus feet, because you have established the desire of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in this world. That is the highest principle. Rupa Goswami is Goa Rupa Manjari. He's the most intimate servant of Srimati Radharani, 9th Gopi and the 108th Gopis. He does not think that he is Radha and Krishna. He is the eternal servant in the most superlative internal aspect. What is he doing? He's establishing Krishna Samkirtan to satisfy Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And following his mood, Bhakti Siddhanta said, I have taken sannyas just to show that I am the servant of Krishna. I am not like Lord Chaitanya, who will sit and enjoy in the Gaur Gambhira of Puri, tasting the nectar of Radha Krishna Leela. Am I Lord Chaitanya? Am I to enjoy like that? I am his servant. What he wants, let me simply serve him. He should enjoy this internal pastime. I will simply serve his lotus feet. And whatever mercy he wants to have on me, that I am always eager and anxious for. Nothing else do I want. But I will not imitate him to try to taste the nectar of Radha Krishna, falsely putting myself in his position. That is his. I will taste anything simply by his mercy, absorbed and serving his intention, his mood. So he saw that Lord Chaitanya wanted his Sankirtan spread everywhere, his pure devotional service spread everywhere. So all through the Guru Parampara, we see they are simply manifesting his desire. Srila Prabhupada took that order to heart, unlimited percent, and expanded all over the world. This is a very wonderful thing. Very wonderful thing. I remember we were walking down this street in Mayapur. Of course, there's only one street, but the road, I have to say. And actually, I had been told by some local people there's a very big banyan tree near a bridge about half a mile from our land on the main Bhakti Siddhanta road. And that tree, someone told me this is Jogamaya. So, about 7-8 years ago, I asked Prabhupada, people said, the tree is Jogamaya personified. Come here. Could you explain, is that true, Srila Prabhupada? And Prabhupada looked, why not? answered the question, at the same time left us completely bewildered. That definitely that tree was Yogamaya. But then of course he was instructing that doesn't mean that every other tree in the holy Dham isn't Yogamaya. The whole Dham is of course Yogamaya. So it was hard to say, is that only that tree Yogamaya? Of course everything is Yogamaya there. So specifically if that is more Yogamaya, that of course was something which required deep realization to delve further into. Prabhupada had given a very, deep as the ocean reply, which simply increased our appreciation of the holy Dham. Actually, we feel at Sri Mayapur, not that we are like local GBC or temple president. When we have our Istagosti, we feel very much that we are simply the caretakers for the whole ISKCON society. Because I remember in 1970 when Srila Prabhupada actually asked me to go to India, and then he came there after some short time also. He mentioned that my Guru Datta Desh, the land given to me by Krishna to preach, was really the Western world. But now we have so many devotees in the West who are preaching. It is necessary they should go and visit the holy lands of Sri Mayapur and Vrindavan, and visit on occasion for some time the holy birthplace of Lord Chaitanya, of Krishna. So then he asked me to try to find, he asked first Achyutananda, and later asked me to help Achyutananda, and later asked me try to find the land, some land in Mayapur, and Achyutananda Swami. For that purpose, it was a long drawn out thing, as most things are in India. It takes about 3 hours to mail a letter at the post office. You can imagine what it is to buy land. And Prabhupada's mood was always that we have to have very nice facilities so that the devotees can come and visit, stay here for some time. He used to tell us that by preaching to demons, gradually one's mind becomes affected. He starts to think that this is the status quo. It is 100% Krishna consciousness means 0% Maya consciousness. But when one is preaching continuously to people who are 100% Maya conscious and 0% Krishna conscious, then gradually one can become a little bit grayed. His conception of what is the real standard of living can become a little bit shaded. Just like through the years we're seeing how even in America, 30 years ago, if someone said a man is a homosexual, people would say, immediately want to kill the guy. And now, because of this association, by this continual proper association, so pretty soon after 30 years, the people of America, now they're starting, and many are starting to think, oh yes, this is also normal. This is a normal way to be. Association is so powerful. So of course, devotees, by associating with gross karmis continuously, they may eventually start to think that something a little bit better than that is really what we should be, to be perfectly Krishna conscious. But Prabhupada wanted to recreate the mood of Lord Chaitanya. People get out of this kind of a gross, sensuous people once in a while for some time, and to also associate with each other on a purely spiritual level, just with devotees, an island oasis, so that this combined with the desire to satisfy the hopes and dreams of the previous acharyas to manifest Lord Chaitanya in the most respectful and prominent place all over the world. So many factors. Prabhupada had started these projects. And one can see how all these things, when one is working with a Dham, then he starts to appreciate what is Nam, what is Rup, what is Leela, what is a devotee. So one sees that in the spiritual world there's a relationship between everything else. And this relationship has different moods and mellows and rasas. And at the same time, everything is a deep attachment with Krishna. So that one has to be very careful how he is dealing in this spiritual realm. So this spiritual realm is, of course, existing all over Krishna conscious movement. And we have to become so expert to perceive the relationships between Krishna and his devotees, Krishna and his holy name, Krishna and his holy Dham, Krishna and his form, Krishna and his paraphernalia. We cannot touch the Sri Kol, the Mridanga, the drum with our feet. We cannot touch arti paraphernalia with our feet. Why? These are simply pieces of brass. Why don't we touch with our feet? Because they're used in Krishna's service. In the spiritual kingdom, the arti paraphernalia is singing Krishna Kirtan while you're doing arti. Of course, we cannot say that our arti paraphernalia is not. We are simply maybe too dense, too stone and wood-like to hear the song that little gopi is singing while we are offering the arti. Krishna's flute talks. The gopis say, "Oh, you are so fortunate. How is it that you are always being kissed by Krishna's lips?" And the flute will chide them on. Everything in the spiritual world is alive. It's a living spiritual entity. So how can we separate anything? Everything is person. Everything is vital, dynamic, living, spiritual entities. Krishna's expansion in different form with different relationships with himself. Ultimately, everything is Krishna. But in some aspects he's serving himself, in some aspects he's accepting the service, in some aspects he's tasting the nectar of serving, in some aspects he's tasting the nectar of being served, and reciprocating with the devotee. It's a deep, most difficult thing to understand. This is the essence of all existence, that everything is based, everything is simply a reflection of these deep spiritual relationships which Krishna has in his eternal kingdom. And the wonderful thing is that to experience that, we don't have to adopt any artificial means, simply by dedicating ourselves to carrying out the order of our pure spiritual master. Krishna reveals everything. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Payojito Janayadhyasa Vairagyam Yattat Jnanam Ahitukam. By surrendering in pure devotional service, automatically transcendental knowledge and renunciation become manifest in our heart. I was very pleased and astounded to hear that when I was visiting Tamal Krishna Goswami, that I don't know whether he mentioned this here or not. I'm a little bit afraid that I might misquote because I wasn't paying so close attention when it started, although in the end my mind was completely attracted. But apparently he attended the Vyas Puja Srila Swami, he came here for your Vyas Puja. He told me he had a dream, either that night or the night before or the night after, or a few nights after. I don't exactly the chronological order, I don't know. He had a dream how Srila Prabhupada, he was going down, came to the temple, there was Rameswar Swami, His Divine Grace, sitting on his Vyasan. Srila Prabhupada was personally present in his Vyasasan. And the morning temple program was going on. Prabhupada went up to his room at 10:30, took a little breakfast. He said, now I want to go back to the temple. He said, oh? So what arrangement shall we make, Srila Prabhupada? He said, no, I want to hear Srila Rameswar Swami disciple offering him Vyas Puja. Prabhupada went down, sat, and was listening very intently to each devotee's offering and experiencing transcendental pleasure from the very Krishna conscious offerings being made. Now, Prabhupada, I don't know whether he mentioned that to anyone or not, but of course, Prabhupada is personally present. How pleased he must be when a devotee surrenders to this Krishna conscious movement and feels a deep faith in the Guru Parampara. How satisfied he must be. Of course, the dreams that a person has are directly dependent on how pure that person is. Naturally, a pure devotee's dreams are very significant because Krishna and the spiritual master will reveal that those become very important. But if some insane, mad, crazy lunatic has a dream, naturally that won't be very authoritative. One cannot depend on it. Anybody can say, someone walked in Mayapur temple and told me, I had a dream that you were going to come to Asansol, and you're going to, which is about a little town about 200 miles away, you're going to come there and build a very big temple in my backyard. I said, go on dreaming. May happen. So, you see, actually Tamal Krishna Goswami, he mentioned to me that he was very disturbed over some recent things that happened. 2 months ago during his Vyas Puja, he received a letter from a devotee in Bombay called Amogalila telling that I have realized that you are the avatar of Krishna. That you are Krishna, you has descended, you are the avatar of Krishna, you are Krishna himself. I have realized this. And he wrote a Vyas Puja which they did not publish, saying that Tamal Krishna was actually the Kali Yuga avatar of Krishna. And Tamal Krishna told his intimate so how this person is actually an affirmed Mayavadi. And how Prabhupada warned against this kind of thing. But because he didn't pay, he just wrote him back that you shouldn't say these things and stopped it. He was very offended. Recently, some other letter was sent out by some so-called dreams that this same person had, telling that Tamal Krishna that the whole GBC is no longer valid, and that now you and Giriraj are the joint acharyas for the Hare Krishna movement. He felt very offended. I was just 2 months ago Krishna, I'm only the acharya. Why have been I demoted? You see. Of course, just recently I got another letter that he has now said everything is all right. Krishna Lord Prabhupada has come in his dream and told them that actually he was just testing Amogalila. Actually everything should go on as it was, and everyone is all right. GBCs are reinstated on the strength of his dreams. Of course, some people who are Kanistha Adhikaris, who don't realize what is the mood of satisfying the spiritual master, they may become affected. Obviously, Krishna allowed certain things to happen just to reveal who is Kanistha Adhikari and who is a Madhyama Adhikari.
who is absorbed in the internal mood of satisfying the desires of Srila Prabhupada, and who is absorbed in external forms without even touching his real desires. Prabhupada says sometimes it requires a little bit of churning of the mud to see where people stand. Who has got clear vision, and who has got muddy vision, and who has got absolutely clouded vision. Krishna tests his devotees. Each devotee will have a different mood, their individual, of how to preach Krishna consciousness, of how to satisfy his spiritual master. But those who are 100% pure, they can be seeing that their every moment is absorbed in fulfilling the orders of his spiritual master to him. There are detailed and there are general orders given in the scripture. Scripture gives a general order that one must go to the temple. In Nectar Devotion, this is explained many specific things. When one goes to the temple, what should he do? Rupa Goswami left out of the Rasa Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. The general order, one must accept initiation from spiritual master, follow his orders. What are those orders? Those will be given by the spiritual master according to time and circumstance, according to the disciple. There is the general order. One must do worship to his guru, to his spiritual master, accepting him as the pure representative of Krishna, that Krishna is speaking through him, instructing through him, that by serving him, Krishna is accepting that service through him. By feeding him, Krishna is eating through him. Now, how the spiritual master wants his disciples to render that worship according to their particular mental frame of mind, according to how they will become more fixed up in devotional service. That is a specific which Rupa Goswami doesn't get into, because it varies from different time and place. I remember when I came to Mayapur, in the beginning people, when I say people, some of Srila Prabhupada's god brothers criticized Srila Prabhupada. Why you are sitting in such a big seat? Like Bhakti Siddhanta. Why you are sitting in such a big seat? Now they don't say that. Now they say he was the only one who can spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. He was an empowered soul. Now what we're doing in ISKCON, they have nothing wrong to say. All the senior respected members, they have nothing wrong to say. Now they're coming forward and saying that we are looking for the day when ISKCON will actually manage all these temples, because we are not able to manage. Many brahmacharis come and say, we are not able. At the Mayapur festival, Srila Rameswar Swami revealed how Prabhupada personally confided in him that one day all these temples, they will come to us and beg us, please take over. Please manage. There's no one else who can manage. And this year, as we're going on Parikram, one of the very ancient shrines in Mayapur, a holy spot dating back millions of years, was offered to the Krishna conscious movement that please take this over and manage it. That is the sacred temple of Jagannath, Subhadra, Balaram of Simantadweep. So there are many pastimes connected with that which I don't have the time to go into right now. but which are very interesting. But I would just like to mention that thanks to the blessings of Srila Prabhupada and the inspiration of Srila Rameswar Swami, who encouraged us as soon as I asked him, should we accept this burden? Should we accept? Yes, Prabhupada told me all these temples we must eventually manage. And he told all the GBC, this is our duty. So now that temple has been fully signed and given to the Krishna conscious movement. And 5,000 of the local villagers came for the Snan Yatra, and they're glorifying how wonderful it is to see Jagannath worship. Actually, there are some very transcendental and beautiful pastimes which have occurred with these Jagannath deities, which I'll go into later, if you are interested to hear. So the point is that this Krishna conscious movement will be spread by the Madhyam Adhikari devotees, by the devotees who have accepted the order of their spiritual master as their more dear than their own life, as their very life and soul, who rise above all kind of limited vision and see what is the relationship between general and specific order, what is the relationship between rules and regulation and between the manifestation of the order of the spiritual master on this world. May Dhruva Mahārāj please bless us that we can get the mercy of Krishna. What greater thing is there to hope for? Thank you very much.